Good morning, good evening. Welcome to week 6 of PSSL 6240 here at George Washington University. Just start off with our normal announcements and current events. Adobe Connect session. I think it went pretty well this past Thursday. The next one will be Wednesday, June 10th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll go over the Boston Massacre or Boston Marathon bombing and the intelligence failures related to that. I hope that you got something out of it for those of you who were at the last Adobe Connect session. For this next one, besides the Boston one, we'll also be talking about careers in the federal government. So please send me any questions you have about careers in the intelligence community, the Department of Defense, contractors, any questions you might have about jobs in the federal government, and I will answer them, or I'll research or try to at least point you in the right direction for those. So that's what we'll be talking about the next Adobe Connect session. I want to just briefly hit on again current events. The fall of Ramadi happened this past week, or about a little over a week ago now. But I just thought it was a little bit funny, and part of this, let me backtrack a little bit. Part of this job is, or part of this graduate program is to look at public communications. Look at how our leaders, whether they're testifying before Congress or testifying in front of the media, how they address security, national security issues, homeland defense issues. You saw it again in the fall about Ebola, and I did some case studies there. But now you're seeing it as it relates to ISIS, and you'll see it a little bit more because we're entering a political season. So we had the Secretary of Defense go on national TV on Monday and say, the Iraqi security forces just fell. They just collapsed and just ran away, essentially. I think he was talking off the cuff, and I don't think he quite understood the second, third, fourth order effects of what he said in front of the media, and I'll just kind of say that out loud here. I could be wrong on that, but at the end of the day, we might have caused a little bit of international confrontation. And the bottom line is, words matter. Off-the-cuff remarks can get really, really taken out of context as you move up in the ranks in the federal government. So that's just kind of a note on current events. Just review of week 5. I saw some of the discussion points, all excellent, particularly when it came to the Gora article, and I'll get those back to you this week. But what should our strategy be for 2016? That's the one thing you want to think of as we're going forward. And one of your last papers will be, or you have a choice, but one of your last papers will be, okay, assess current counterterrorism strategy and write a strategy for the presidential administration. I'll let you have a little bit of flexibility on that because we're now in a political season. So if you want to write a memo to pick whatever candidate you want, and that could be your final paper, a memo on their counterterrorism strategy for presidential candidate X, Y, whoever you want. Just keep in mind, different parties are going to approach counterterrorism in a different way, and different people within those parties are going to approach counterterrorism in a different way. So make sure you reflect that in your writing. But your strategy should be, should cover the following: what works, what doesn't, what have we seen that was worked in the last 12, 13, 14 years that's been successful, what hasn't. And even today we're talking about the Patriot Act, which may or may not get renewed. I'm taping this noon on Sunday, and at 11:59 tonight, the Patriot Act will expire. That's something that the next president is going to have to come to grips with in 2016. What lessons can we learn from other countries? We saw it again. The Gora lectures talked about that. In the lecture, I talked about Israeli counterterrorism strategy. What lessons learned can we derive from there? So that will be a point. And then finally, what will the political environment bear? Political winds have shifted a little bit. If you told me 3 years ago that a majority of Americans would support sending in ground divisions back into Iraq, which now the polls are showing, I would have probably found that very humorous. But now the political environment says, yeah, we might be able to send more troops into Iraq to deal with ISIS. Next year, that might not be the case. So that has to be addressed in any strategy that you're developing in 2016. Things that the political environment won't bear. I don't think sending divisions into Yemen is something that the American people are going to, or sending Army and Marine divisions into Yemen is something the American people are going to be satisfied with or want. Sending political or sending U.S. Army divisions into Mali or Nigeria will probably be something that's not politically feasible. So make sure you don't mention that, or you bring that up in your strategy on how you're going to deal with those problems without sending an overwhelming ground force to do nation building. And then the final point, bringing this up, or you can ask, are we winning the global war on terror? The Zakaria article written in 2010 would say yes. But again, 5 years later, with ISIS expanding now in Iraq, in Libya, now in Afghanistan, and other places in North Africa, maybe we are losing the global war on terror. And I'll let you decide on that, and you can bring that up in your paper. So that covers kind of week 5. Just to review week 6, preview week 6. This is documentary week. Excellent documentaries, all family-friendly documentaries, and are all actually even very interesting to the layman. So even my wife watched a few of these documentaries, and she thought they were very, very intriguing. The first is the NSA documentary, on the Nova NSA documentary that covers the 9/11 intelligence failures. The National Geographic documentary. 2 discs, just do the first disc, and again, those videos are out on YouTube now. Excellent overview of 9/11 based on the 9/11 Commission findings. And as you're watching that documentary, I want you to think, where could we, the interagency process, FBI, CIA, where were those specific points that we could have stopped 9/11? And as you're going through those documentaries, again, keep that in mind. And then finally, the BBC documentary on the underwear bomber. Most people probably remember that back in Christmas Day in 2009, where Anwar Muttalib tried to bring down a passenger jet. The BBC documentary goes in detail about the intelligence failure related to that, and it's very excellent documentary. So as you're going through, what were the intelligence failures in relation to 9/11? Who was to blame? What should we have known at the time? And that's a little bit, decide for yourself what's a Monday morning quarterbacking and what is things that, hey, even in the pre-9/11 environment, we should have known this, or we should have been able to put these 2 pieces of the puzzle together. I'll let you decide on what that is, and I give some thoughts in the lecture that I've assigned for that week. And the question is, why do we still have intelligence failures? And the documentaries and some of the readings go into depth on that. The underwear bomber, again, when you're going through the documentary, going through the reading, ask, despite the $2-3 trillion that we've spent on homeland defense and counterterrorism and intelligence, why do we still have underwear bombers? How does someone just slip through our supposed dragnet that we've set up? Fort Hood shooting, again, despite the billions and hundreds of billions of dollars and the emphasis on intelligence sharing and coordination with the federal and state and local officials, why do we still have a Fort Hood shooting, the Anwar, I should say the 2009 Fort Hood shooting? And then the Boston bombing. That's what the Adobe Connect, the last group, is going to cover in their session next week. Why do we still have, again, another intelligence failure despite massive resources spent? So it covers kind of week 6, or previews week 6. I should be seeing papers my way. Again, I haven't seen any requests for extension, so just like the Patriot Act is expiring at 11:59 tonight, your papers, I should be getting them at 11:59. If there's any questions or issues, please don't hesitate to ask, and I will see you on the discussion boards.